Alright, and stream's running, so I actually need to do a test first. Can you guys talk real quick?
Sure. How is it working?
So
Find out.
remain quiet.
Okay, it's going good.
Another thing that pushed me to make more what's the term? More etchy style of novels than outright porn was that I have no fucking experience writing a sex scene.
It's fine.
I I I can I admit I don't have much experience with writing at all, which is why I'm trying to read more and play more story focused stuff to get a better feel of it.
Yeah, some of the stuff that I've looked into was hilarious. One of them that more or less died off. The it was a story that was written by some dude who was like 50 or 60. And what was hilarious was his I think that was his age, but what was hilarious was he sat there and got into a bad health condition, partially mental, but bad health condition. And his daughter actually found out about the project and went ahead and started helping him with the PR end of it, dealing with his fan base. It's like, god damn it.
Are you talking about Terry Pratchett?
No. It was on F95.
Oh,
But people sat there and found out about it, and were sitting there laughing when his daughter basically popped on, explained who she was, explained where her dad was, and why he hadn't updated in a while, and was basically acting as the go-between for a bit until her dad got out of the hospital or something. Though the game is still inactive, I don't know what happened past that.
雲の巣も全部消えちゃったよ。自然に消えるなんておかしいわよね。やっぱり怪物が出したものは普通じゃないのかしら。
怪物毒蜘蛛のこともそうだけど
Hmm.
放射どころじゃねえよ。外の地形も変わってるってありえねえじゃん。一体ここはどこなんだよ。
yeah, because there was a lot of things in life that kind of pushed me in the direction I've gone. I just hope it was the right decision in the end, you know?
だよ。
Yep.
私もよ。疲れちゃったわ。
But I have the feeling it will be.
今日はひとまず休まないか。
I have a very strong feeling it was the right decision to go to books instead of a game.
Oh god, this hurts me. Okay, Falcomon just said a phrase. I couldn't quite tell what it was, but it was a phrase that was something like 4 or 5 words, give or take. A short sentence,
Mhm.
right? The English translation: all of this warrants contemplation, but perhaps we should retire for the day? That's not what he said. I don't care what the fucking actual phrase was. That is not what he said.
そうだね。みんな、今日は休もう。え、ここで休むのか？
私も気になるけど、
Strange.
今日は大変だったし、もう疲れてる。
I'm also been penning up stuff for a different game, a clean game, an RPG.
ちょっとは気を使いなさいよ。
Specifically, it's an RPG with, it's meant to be like Diablo.
他にいない。
So I'm penning up stuff for classes and the lore.
そっか。他に行くわけもないし。
Oh, if you want a website that I found that's absolutely fantastic for basically writing, but it's geared towards tabletop and creating custom settings and stuff like that. But because of that, it's actually really good for writing purposes too. It's a website called World Anvil. And essentially what they do is they let you, it builds up a Wikipedia encyclopedia thing where you can build up the setting, including detail work on the setting.
Oh, what's it called?
World Anvil.
Oh, World Anvil.
It's fantastic for what it is, and it's the only thing that I know of that's actually useful for building up settings in depth. And they all, because
Yeah.
it's meant for tabletop campaigns and stuff like that, it also has stuff that's specifically tailored towards writing. So for example, there's a section for campaign manuscripts and stuff like that.
Hmm. I've, as of now, been putting all the lore down into Google Docs.
So was I, but Google Docs makes it a complete pain in the ass to actually sort it out and stuff like that. One of the
Yeah, to
good
organize.
one of the good parts to World Anvil is, for example, if you set up, let's say you are creating an organization for your setting, right? Like the Kingdom of whatever, the Kingdom of Clusterfuck, and you can sit there, it will sit there and have prompts for it, like, okay, so from what time periods did this organization exist? What's the purpose of it? Who's the leader? What's the national boundaries? Is it associated with a particular ethnicity, race, species, anything like that? Is
Oh.
there an actual hierarchy to it? How is that designed? It's useful.
No, I'll look into it then. That sounds very useful. And you can share it to others with links.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
And it's organized literally like a Wikipedia page, and all the stuff is interlinked, or you can interlink it very easily because it's already pre-organized to a certain degree.
That sounds great. I'll have to look into that.
Yep. It is. They do allow for free use of the product to a certain degree. It's with limitations because they monetize it by subscription services and so on and so forth. But if you wanted to get into it, what I can do is, since I'm currently a Sage on it, which is the highest subscription, um, I think for I don't know when it'll cut off this year, but essentially it allows me unlimited access to creating new worlds and stuff like that, and I can designate editors for the worlds and stuff. And
How
it
much
gives
does Sage cost?
200 a year, I think.
That is a bit pricey.
The but the base actually is not bad. Let me see. Let me double check what the monetization on it is. Here we go. Guild membership pricing. Um, okay. So going by yearly prices, if you go here, um, message there. There's the link to it. If you do basic, you can get 20 articles. Oh, 20 drafts and 175 articles total. And you can have up to 2 worlds. And the articles is total between both worlds. You can include maps and stuff like that. What you can't do is essentially have editors, subscribers, stuff like that. You can't use some of their more advanced features, some of the lockout stuff, uh, just little stuff like that, essentially. But it's good for if you're working on projects literally by yourself.
Yeah.
Um, the master is where it's 54 a month, and or 54 a year. Sorry, $7 a month. Um, and that gives you access to most of the features. Yeah, it'll give you access to most of the features, and it ups the number of articles immediately to unlimited. You can have 10 worlds, and you get access to a bunch of the extra little bits and pieces.
Yeah, I like the whole prompt system.
No, the prompt is default.
Oh.
The prompts are literally built into making the articles themselves. And sometimes they'll do lifetime sales, and that's where it really gets pricey. A lifetime Sage, which I'm going to pick up when I can afford to do so, is $1,400.
But it's a one-time purchase.
Yep. Buy it once, you never have to do it again, and you get full access to literally everything.
I'd have to consider the lifetime sale. But that could be a while, as you said.
Yep. And they don't always have the lifetimes available. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Damn. Be cool if
But
they made it just available all the time.
yeah, but they want to put emphasis on, essentially, they want to put emphasis on subscriptions, which I don't blame them. It's a better long-term model. But periodically, they'll just sit there and put it. I don't know if it's permanent or not now, but when I had last looked at it, it was sometimes up, sometimes not.
気乗りはしないけど
But it's a fantastic system from everything I did. I use it. I recommend it highly. And like I said, if you want to sit there and set up something and you start hitting, if you start hitting bits where you can't actually access some of the features, let me know what your account and stuff like that is, and I'll add you as an editor, and I'll set up a world for you so that you can do it on through my account essentially.
If you're willing. I mean,
Because since I'm on Sage, I don't remember how many editors I can have, but it's a lot.
Well, I just hope it wouldn't trouble you.
No. I just have to figure out where to add people again. But yeah, I have an infinite. Sage comes with an infinite number of worlds. I can have up to 20 co-authors, which are essentially editors. So what's the cancellation date? Next billing date. Oh, I bought that at the beginning of this year. So I'm good for a while. But yeah, I have to. The only problem is I literally just have to find where I'm supposed to add editors again. Because the last time I did it was when I added Alu to the list. And I actually don't remember.
And I hope it's really not rude of me. It probably is, but since we just met, like, I can, trust you to let all the world and the stories in it be, my stuff, no strings attached.
No.
All right, thanks, man. It's just that's happened to a lot of people in the past.
Yeah, trust me, I know. I hate people like that, and well, at the very least, Alu can vouch for me. I'm not an asshole, usually.
So you're not gonna fuck me over like that by claiming it as your own.
No.
All right, thanks, man. And I hope it wasn't rude of me to,
No, it's okay. It's good to ask, but most people in my Discord are usually trustworthy. If they aren't, I mean, just check if they have the VIP. Usually,
Yeah.
I give it to people that I know I can trust.
Yeah, people who are chill. Well, thanks for understanding and not being offended.
Nah.
Because there's a lot of unfortunate authors that happened to, and it fucked them up in the long run.
Yep. I've seen it happen to way too many really good projects and stuff like that, and it's just shitty.
Yeah, so you got a personal stake against that. Good.
Well, I always have. It's just I have examples of it happening to people, and it's like, no, I'll pass.
Yeah.
I've never liked the idea of fucking somebody over.
Good to know then. Thank you.
I wouldn't be able to sleep the next night if I did that.
My world I've actually created to be a little different from other fantasy worlds. It's more... I'd assume since you make video games, you play them. Have you ever heard of Iron Harvest?
Iron Harvest, vaguely. Yes, you get down. You're learning. Good.
Well, the setting I'm creating is more or less a fantasy diesel punk World War I thing.
Fantasy World War One. Ah,
Yeah.
yes, I actually know what you're talking about. I haven't played Iron Harvest, but I remember, isn't that the mech game?
Yeah, it's a strategy game with the big diesel punk mechs.
Yes. Okay. That's why I heard of it. A couple of the people that I pay attention to, including Kibbs and Arch, had played a fair bit of Iron Harvest last year,
It
I
looks
think it
pretty
was.
fun.
Yeah, they've done not necessarily a full review on it, but they have sat there and played it enough to have distinct opinions and have shared said opinions.
I have a good story if I remember. I just wish it had more.
Yeah, it was based. Funny enough, it was based off of a set of paintings that were
Yeah,
done by a particular author, and they
yep.
more or less talked him into. Here it is. They more or less talked him into. Okay.
Yeah, and working with them.
They more or less talked him into sitting there making a game, an actual full setting based off the paintings. Okay, what is your name on World Anvil? I assume that you've got it registered and everything now?
Not yet. As I said, I'm playing a game.
Okay.
But
Well,
I will create an account.
alright, no rush. I just sat there and found the spot, so I can add you whenever. I'll leave that page up.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
I'm honestly coming up with, so far, the big thing is that humanity is divided between their nations, but these nations are a lot closer knit together than they were in real life.
Yeah.
Because when monsters exist, people are going to have a lot less of a reason to kill each other. So far, these nations have come up with are all based on a World War I or World War themed country. You have the Elben Reich based on Kaiser Germany. You have an equivalent to Britain. You have an equivalent to Italy and the USA. A lot of my characters come from either the Reich or from the equivalent of the United States, called the, what was it? The CPV, Confederate Provinces of Vesperia.
Hey?
And I have a couple of side characters from the other countries. But since these two were really the big players of the two biggest players of the war, who pulled the most of the weight, they get focus, obviously, you know?
Alright.
But a lot of my main humans come from there.
Yeah, they actually are mostly translating Rio correctly.
Hmm.
Okay.
Oh. Dinner's ready. I'll be back.
Alright. Hi. Come here. All right. There you go. Another guile fight. Part 2. Okay, there's the flowery chick.
一体何がどう
教授、まさかと。そのまさかか。いけども見た覚えの。
なんかそこらじゅ
そんな子供の足でも。
私たちそう
普通ならば確かにこんなところでじゃあ一体何が。これはあくまで推測だが、それが原因で私が気づいた時はそこで君たちの声を聞い確かにちょっとさてその
引率の先生じゃないんだからさ
帰還できてもキャンプの宿泊所だし
へりくつ言わないで
今はそんな弱音を吐いてる場合じゃないだ。
そんなの当たり前だし
まあ
いいです
当たり前だ。教授に気を使わせるよ。教授も君も年長者なら頭ごなし。とにかく今ここにいるのは我々。それは
葵ちゃんたちどう
この辺りならさすがに熊じゃどうだろう。
Okay. Am I gonna get the second party?
Is Alpha still watching the evil?
Nah, he went to sleep. He might be watching from his room, but he's back there. Alright, so Lopmon and Floormon.
これって教授こんな
Feel bad for Lopmon, but the partner needs to go.
これってもしかして伝承にあった例のその獣神ってやつ
まさかそんなこら不用意に近
って神
まずい。
私たちこいつに追われてた
Let's see, Floormon is what, a data or virus type, I believe. I think it's a data.
嘘でしょ
早く教授来るんじゃ。
このままじゃ
お願いだ修二君。教授行くぞ。
I think I forgot to.
いいからそれでいい修二君。
I think I forgot to request your Twitch
無駄にするんじ
to
ゃな
be
い。
pinned. Your Twitch channel to pin, so I get access anytime.
I have the vague feeling the professor is a bad guy.
Are you Carsi the cat or Zon Sama?
Huh?
Are you Carsi the cat or Zon Sama?
No. I was Kartsi the Cat. I decided to give up on that, and I'm streaming through my actual channel, Gray.
Oh.
It's the one I usually comment through. Yep.
The game doesn't have sound.
It should. I have the game, or the thing should be reflecting anything that's coming through my headset, which includes the game music. Is it too soft to hear?
I don't know. At least in the stream, I don't hear anything. Wait, I can hear it faintly. Just the other one I'm watching is more loud. I don't know. At least in the stream, I don't hear anything.
Yeah, the audio on it, the audio from us is higher than the game sound, but otherwise it should. I'm hearing it play on the speakers. I probably should set up a third set, but every time I'm having to cheat and sit there and play the sound through different speakers and then have OBS pick up the output from the different speakers. I can then, without having to so much adjust my end, I can adjust the way that everybody else hears it.
Oh.
But if I lump too much stuff together, it'll... Okay, right now we should think about not the next fight, keeping everyone safe, or what's happening here. What's happening here? I really don't care if some of them die.
You bad boy.
Moral choice. I don't know how that's moral, but hey, I'll take it. I'm figuring fight is wrath, and I guess because the three virtues, let's say, are wrath, harmony, and morality. And yeah, basically, as you make choices in the game, you get points to one of the three categories, and as the points in that particular category rise, you get a better affinity with the Digimon that's associated with that category. In the case of morality, it's vaccine types. Harmony is for data types, and virus is wrath. But admittedly, I was getting distracted some, but for the last 20 minutes, it's been nothing but visual novel stuff. Though we'll say 10 minutes, because part of that was spent digging through World Anvil.
Oh, so you've been working on it.
Yes, but more I was looking for the author section, where I was added you to it before. Because it was bothering me, and I literally could not remember where that damn button was.
Well, at least you found it.
Yep, and I left it up so I can't lose it again.
Oh my god. Actually, I should be watching this match on Evo.
Which one is it?
No, just because the guy playing Guile is actually the best player in the world, and it's so good that even has a manga about it.
Hey. Yeah, and he's not doing the button spam.
No, he's very
technical.
Yeah, it's very cold. Like it doesn't do anything if he thinks he's not gonna do anything. He plays very, very smart, usually. I thought he's losing like like an asshole right now. But he's getting older because this guy's is about my age or even older.
Yeah, the good part about precision fighting like that is you don't actually have to. Precision fighting isn't a young man's game. The only
because
part
I
of it that you can say is the reaction speed required, but that's more of how well you can predict what somebody's going to do. So it kind of gets offset. At least up to a point. Once you hit that point, it drops like a fucking rock, but still. Technically, if it's a counter fighter or something like that, where they're either trying to lead you into certain choices or they're trying to wait for certain choices, then in both cases, your age is largely irrelevant, because the faster you get, the less you need to predict, and the more you can predict, the less you need to be fast.
so yeah, they kind of find a balance. It shifts more. In this case, toward thinking. Although it's actually it really makes people like play the way he wants.
Yep. That's the that's
It's been
actually the
doing that for
proper way
ages.
to do counterfighting. Is a lot of people think that counterfighting is adapting to the circumstance. For example, sitting there waiting for like somebody to make a jab in order to, or a particular move to counter it. No. And it's not sitting there understanding how to counter every single thing. It's trying to get them, force your opponent to act in certain ways.
Mhm.
Because if you can control your opponent and control yourself, you control the fight. You can't lose. Sun Tzu. Welcome
True.
back.
That's actually how I play how my character actually plays in Smash. As long as the people aren't so fast that I just can't condition them.
Who do you usually play in Smash?
Hmm? Robin.
Makes sense. I hear Robin is good.
No, it's actually very bad.
Really?
Yeah, it's the second slowest character in the game. All her attacks just disappear and waste, and you have to recharge every single time they waste it, so you can't use them. Also,
I remember Cloud is considered one of the highest tier.
which one?
Cloud.
Well, it's okay. I mean, it's not terrible. It's just you need to be very fast and commit to your attacks and make sure you don't get pushed off stage.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's still good. It's still a fast character.
Cloud, if I remember, does not have good recovery.
Oh, Ike. Mm, no, he doesn't have recovery, but he has a lot of range, so he just needs to swing the sword.
Yeah, I used to play a lot of Ike back in Brawl.
Hmm. I mean, it was a very top tier when the game came out at the start. But Robin is actually very low tier. That's why people get amazed when I play her at high level. She can get really annoying. The only downside is if you're using something like a Pikachu, it's gonna be hard for me to hit you because it's just too fast and too small. But yeah, if you ever want to play Smash, just let me know. I mean, let me know. Yes, because my controls all starting to get drift, so I can't actually play the game. I mean, my friends right there has been inviting me to play with them, but my control is just not good. So I just start debanging the guy mid fights because I'm trying to walk and my controller just keeps pressing down. Well, this is odd. Daigo lost. I think Daigo is probably getting older. It's more of a FGC symbol at this point rather than a proper player or anything.
Why do they keep using the term mutation for Digimon? Transformation would make more sense, and I think that's the word they're using in Japanese. Henka?
Enka, it's changing.
So that would be closer to
Enka.
transformation than
Uh,
mutation, wouldn't it be?
That's hard because in transformation, I think it's Henshin.
Yes.
Uh, Henka is like development actually. It's sort of something that increases or grows or. I mean, mutation. It's hard to say because mutation is not exactly growing or getting better.
Yeah, it's just raw change, and it's usually on a
Yeah.
micro scale, not macro. But at that
Yeah.
point, evolution would be the proper term, but or
Also,
maybe.
evolution is retarded. I mean, I've seen like people actually. Let's apply Pokemon logic in real world. Every time a Pokemon evolves, everybody dies.
Yeah.
すなわち進化ね
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it's just impossible for something to change that quick, that fast, at that at that time with the amount of mass, like a Magikarp into a Gyarados. That's just it will probably blow half of the world or something. The first time we actually did that.
Magikarp who became Gyarados.
Every single evolution would be a failure, and you'd have a pile of ash and probably a crater.
Yeah,
Why would it be a failure?
Because
I'm
there's
not
not enough
sure.
energy available to
yeah,
fuel the transformation.
because they
So,
would need to eat like I don't know, what 100 times their size in food
yep. There's a
or more.
reason that most times such a transformation either takes literally millennia, or
Yeah,
if it's an
millennia. Yeah,
individual creature, that it takes
a few
literally
seconds.
like a decade.
Yeah, in Pokemon it takes a few seconds. Like you're going
And
like
yeah, the
light
fact that the
speed.
Gyarados just produces more Magikarp when it
Yeah.
mates.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well, that actually makes sense in nature for the simple reason that a lot of species sit there and have protoforms. A lot of bugs do protoforms, amphibians do protoforms, stuff like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we're talking the concept of like biological evolution, not how it works in Pokemon or how it really is,
Yep.
no,
like
we're
it'd be
trying to
considered an
like what's
evolutionary failure if a creature can't pass on its advantages to others.
Uh, well, no, I mean like in within a single generation, frogs give birth to tadpoles and stuff like that that later become
Yeah,
frogs in their lifetime. Insects have
well, I
a
know.
very distinct penchant for that sort of thing. So it's something that
Well, I know.
actually does make sense for that, but the energy costs involved is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, they're literally bathing a corona of light. Who knows how much energy that takes?
Yep. Though it does sort of explain it in Pokemon for the simple reason that essentially, literally, God created Pokemon and is
Yeah.
helping to maintain them. Like, according to the way that the lore is laid out, apparently Arceus just existed and created everything. And Arceus was the equivalent to the Ultra Beast, but for our particular world, I guess, something like that. And basically, it just created Mew and then split Mew, used Mew as the basis to create a bunch of other shit.
It well, it's not related to the Ultra Beasts, to my knowledge. It's just
No,
God.
Ultra Beasts, I was saying it's the equivalent of. It's not related to. Because the Ultra Beasts are Pokemon from a completely different dimension, but it's unknown whether or not there is an equivalent of Arceus for them, or whether they essentially are the equivalent of Arceus and are capable of generating, let's say, lesser life forms themselves.
Hmm. Well, it'd definitely be strange to see a Poipole do that, considering they're known to live in giant hives.
Yeah. The only one that I know of offhand is the big jellyfish looking fuck, and that one there were a ton of them.
Yeah. Poipole is another one, and it's basically just the easiest way to describe it is that it's a child.
Yeah.
It it acts like a child. It thinks like a child. It's basically a kid.
And then apparently Arceus decided to flip off the Ultra Beasts by creating Zygarde to counter them. Because I believe, wasn't Zygarde supposed to be the anti-Ultra Beast? Something like that?
It was created to balance out Yveltal and Xerneas.
Because
But
I
it
know...
might have been
I know their
Anti-Ultra Beast
creation.
as well.
I know their creation, destruction, and evolution, the Trinity there, but I couldn't remember. That was the generation where I believe they added in Ultra Beast, but I couldn't remember.
No, that was Mega
No, Sun,
Evolutions. They
Sun
did
and
add
Moon.
They
Sun and Moon was the one with Ultra Beast.
yeah, they Team Aether was experimenting on Zygarde cells, so it could have something to do with it. Ultimately, I'm a little unsure myself.
Oh, I remember what the anti-Ultra Beast was for that one, essentially. It was the Black Ultra Beast
yeah.
that could turn into the Sun Lion, Solgaleo, and Lunala.
Lunala. And
It
then
could
there was
mimic
the
the two.
anti-Ultra Beast that was created by the Aether Foundation, Sylvali. AKA the Type Null units.
Yep. Sylvali.
Yep.
Or Sylvani or something like that.
Yeah, which Gladion stole one, and the other two passed to the main characters of Sun and Moon and Sword and Shield.
Yep, and they were literally they were created as a hybrid of different Pokemon incorporated into the same unit. I believe, was it Sharpedo or Remoraid that was part of it?
I think both.
It was a fish type that was included as part of it, and it maintains the tail from that particular Pokemon, which was notable.
I think it was Remoraid, because Sharpedo doesn't have a tail.
Fair enough.
If I remember, Type Null and Sylvali are often in pain due to their misshapen existence.
Yep, they aren't supposed to be existing, and they are... Oh, you're kind of forced to be real. Like, there's a whole lot of tech keeping them alive when they shouldn't be.
Yeah, if I remember, it's when they fully master their form that they're no longer in constant pain, which is when they evolve.
Though, there is actually a way to fix that, which would be hilarious.
What?
Oh, team up with Team Rocket. Ditto. Their research on Mew created Ditto, and Ditto has the ability to essentially copy the features of any Pokemon in existence, including legendaries, because it's literally related to all of them.
But it can only turn into them temporarily.
No, actually. It can maintain the form as long as it wants.
Oh.
It's in the game. In the game,
I didn't know Ditto was actually created by Team Rocket. I thought that was just a theory.
Nope. Because it specifically states that they were a science experiment gone wrong in Generation 1, and they were related to a facility that, if I remember right, the only place that you could find Ditto is somewhere around Cinnabar Island, or one of the Team Rocket facilities. And
which is where they created Mewtwo.
Yep, and they were doing a bunch of genetic experimentation with Mewtwo to try and stabilize the DNA of Mew into a cohesive Pokemon. The failures were Dittos.
Yeah. Which is probably one of the reasons that Mewtwo is so aggressive and Dittos are very placid overall.
Well, the other part is Mewtwo is actually fully sentient. The Dittos aren't really.
Well, I thought all Pokemon were sentient to an extent.
To an extent, but Mewtwo has human-level intelligence.
Oh, right.
And furthermore, in Pokemon Adventure, it is stated that the way they actually stabilized the DNA so it didn't turn into a formless blob that couldn't really do anything on its own was they took... Blaine had the bright idea of taking some of his DNA and incorporating it into the Mew DNA. So essentially because he was the basis for it, he's got a forcible mental link to Mewtwo, and in the comics, Mewtwo actually becomes his primary partner Pokemon.
They don't get along, though.
Not particularly, though they get along afterwards, because Blaine basically was rejecting Mewtwo, and Mewtwo was pissed off over it, but it really just came down to when Blaine accepted the fact that he fucked up and was sitting there willing to deal with Mewtwo, Mewtwo was willing to partner up with him because, well, if he kills Blaine, there's no telling if Mewtwo will die in return. And the same is in reverse. So essentially, it's a circumstance where they kind of have to work together, because if one of them dies, it's possible that both of them will.
Yeah, and Blaine is no longer the Blaine that did those horrible things.
Yep, and Mewtwo specifically is why he quit.
Wish we got a Pokemon Adventures anime. That'd be cool.
Yeah, but then they'd have to fucking toss Ash into the garbage bin and actually
well,
put real.
You can just have it be a different series.
You could. Actually, there was a.
I mean, they did try to change Pikachu, but they just get.
Pokemon has literally more. The Pokemon Company has a shitload of money. I'm sure they could afford to make a second anime series.
Yeah. No, the funny part is, there was actually a fan game that somebody did that what you play through the fan game as Red, and it goes through essentially acting as if the Pokemon anime was part of the canon.
Mm-hmm.
So you are playing as Red, and you run into Ash somewhat constantly. As
Your
you're
age, and Ash doesn't. No.
Yeah, basically. But you're going through essentially all the different stuff that's happening. I believe they had included the base Pokemon. Let me see, Red, Blue, Gold. I think they included. They had Johto or Kanto, and then I think they included Johto, and they also had the Orange Islands.
Imagine if those two met.
Yeah, Red considers
kind of
Ash to be a in the game. Basically, Red considers Ash to be a retard that somehow keeps ending up in the middle of bullshit and somehow not only surviving it, but helping reveal what's going on, and it's just exasperating.
That would be their interactions, probably.
It's just like, how do you keep failing upwards? What the fuck is this?
Literally won a league match where his Rowlet fell asleep in the middle of the match and started sleepwalking around.
Yep.
He then won that league. He fucking took that shit. With a narcoleptic Rowlet, a shrieking blob of metal, a cat, and essentially the most rambunctious, mischievous child you can think of in the form of his poi pole. And he fucking took that shit. And he's probably gonna take the next series with his new team of Dragonite, Gigantamax Gengar, Gigantamax Pikachu, Lucario, and Dracovish. I guarantee he's gonna fucking take it at this point. Dracovish is a monster. Also, he gets along well with Dracovish because it's even more retarded than he is.
Yeah.
It can only say two things. Uno and la. Also, it tries to bite his head like his Gibble did. And it's perfect. It's not the Dracovish I expected, but the one I clearly needed.
What the fuck? Little boy says we appreciate the sentiment. I didn't hear what his Japanese statement was. Miyuki's statement was One-chan. And the English translation is sentiment. What the fuck?
Seeing the videos of Ash's Dracovish, it's a trip. Have you seen any videos of it?
Mm-mm.
I could send you one if you want.
I stopped watching Pokemon anime season 1.
That's a long time ago.
Don't remind
When
me of
did
how
you
old
watch
I
it?
am.
Like, I'd assume you're in your early 20s or something, or
No. No.
Oh.
I'm early 30s.
Ah.
I was a kid when it was actually legitimately coming out.
Well, this is fucking. Let me show you, Dracovish. You have to see it to understand it. Oh yeah, he just says his regular name instead of the Uno thing, which I prefer the Uno. It gives him more character.
I saw the comment,
Honestly,
Alu.
the more I see the Japanese version of Pokemon, the more I think this is honestly better.
Now I'm wondering what was it? His partner should be Gabumon, hers is Renamon.
Let me show you the fucking Uno machine. Put it in the text, put it in the voice chat. Oh yeah, Ash is a lot different now. He's probably, I'm not sure if he's more mature or he's less mature. That's the weird thing, it's hard to tell.
Okay, go right around it, put it off for now, stay away from it. For the moment, honestly, I would say put that off for now, but... No, go right around it. You have to work around it.
But yeah, that's Dracovish in the anime. The ultimate life form.
Where'd you drop it? Oh, voice chat.
In the voice text check, huh?
Okay.
Fucking experience that one.
You can swim.
No, it can't swim, it runs.
I thought he was asking him, he can swim.
Yeah, Dracovish can't swim, it runs.
Oh, I see now. Oh la la. What the fuck?
Yep.
It's funny because Japanese people usually can't say the L.
I definitely prefer his Japanese version.
I think I could actually watch the entire Pokemon without subtitles. Like, I literally understood everything he said. You know, this Pokemon is actually a reference to old dinosaurs discoveries that people would make, and they will just swap around the bones because they were idiots.
Yep.
They didn't add all the parts. I found it very interesting.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
What do you think?
Fun. Oh.
Oh shit, the announcement. Hold on.
The most recent fossil Pokemon horrify me though.
Oh yes, that's the point.
I can't remember if it was this generation or not, but it's the what was it? Archivolt or something like that,
Yeah,
where
Arctozolt.
it's blatantly two different Pokemon.
Yeah, he's from this one. There's 4 fossils this generation, and I mean, Arctozolt is a sweetheart. Is the biggest thing. These fossils are sweethearts, even though they are in constant pain.
だからここが異世界仮に異世界だとしてもそれは私たちの世界とつながっている世界ってことでしょそうとでも考えないと
Existence is utter agony, but they are absolute sweethearts about it.
境界
No.
が曖昧なところがある
That's one of the things that I actually like about Survive so far, is they're pulling up one of the old, how do I put it? They're pulling up one of the old bits or one of the old memes from the Digimon universe
Mix.
that if you're a fan of Digimon, you already know what the answer is, but the characters don't. And it's actually fairly well done. Like, the reason that the building is there, right? Because in Survive, they are staying in a school building because it's both familiar and it gives them a safe spot that's not really defensible, but it's relatively safe.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there wondering, okay, so why is this school building here? Like, this is obviously human built. This is the building that we were in. It's just in much worse condition. But why is this here if we're in a completely different world? And the answer from back in the day, or the answer traditionally, was just that the digital world reflects, the digital world, which is where all the Digimon are, reflects the human world. So certain aspects of the human world get copied into the digital world, but they're not the same. Like, in some cases, they just straight don't function. It's form without the actual ability to work. But in a lot of cases, there's something off about whatever it is that got pulled in. Like, you might see a full-fledged set of train tracks, right? You might see a set of train tracks, but there's something off about them. And you sit there and dig into them, and you find out that the train tracks are running across nothing. Or that the train tracks are built out of odd materials or something along those lines. And in the school's case, it's the fact that the school that they went to is an old abandoned school building, right?
Yeah.
If you think of an old abandoned school building out in the woods, you're going to think an overgrown ruin, not an actual decently upkept school. And not one where it's just clean and stuff like that. It might be dusty and everything, but the plants haven't had a chance to take it over, right? That's just the way our minds work. So that's what the digital world did. When it copied the school in, it copied the concept of an overgrown school building, an old ruin.
もしそうだったら
Which is also why the first aid kits and stuff like that are in perfect condition, because they're the concept of a first aid kit. It's not the actual kit. Which has some benefits to it, because that means that the medicine out of it's going to work a hell of a lot better than it would otherwise.
それなら部活に
Because
動
the
く
entire
より
digital world is based very heavily off concepts.
Still remember the fucking train Digimon that just becomes a bigger train.
Please don't remind me.
A logical progression unlike every other fucking Digimon in the series.
No, I know what you're talking about, Locomon.
Yep.
And it turns into Grand Locomon.
Mm-hmm.
But I fucking hate Frontier from a conceptual standpoint.
Remember anything about Frontier? It has slipped my mind entirely, so I don't know why you don't like it.
It's the one with the train in it, and it's
Yep.
literally a bunch of kids that end up in the digital world, or they're going to the digital world via the train, or traveling around it through the train, or something like that. but they made a couple major retcons to the entire franchise. One of which is that, as a rule of thumb, if a Digimon looks like a human, it is weaker, substantially weaker, than a Digimon that looks like an animal. To
I
the
did not know that.
to the point where a animal form ultimate level Digimon can and probably will lose to a champion level bestial type.
What's the advantage of human types then?
Nothing really, because they're all intelligent and they can all communicate regardless of whether they're bestial or animal. The only one that I can think of maybe is that the the humanoid types have a stronger penchant for forming like civilizations, villages, and stuff like that. But the bestial types in various settings, I don't know about this one, but the bestial types in various settings are perfectly capable of talking and everything else, so they form villages too.
Clearly, the advantage of humanoid ones is that they can have better relationships with humans, if you get what I mean.
Hey, I don't know. There's a lot of degeneracy.
I won.
But no, I'm just it bothered that actually bothered me.
教授や修二がいるかも。いるかどうかもここでじっとしとく。
Very few people are able to fully comprehend how down bad I am. If I was any more down bad, I'd be in the pits of hell.
But yeah, the other part of it that irritated me was instead of actually doing a traditional Digimon partner thing, like I'll even take Savers over this one. Instead of actually giving them traditional partners, what they did was have each one of the kids find a handful of Digi-Eggs, and they can use those Digi-Eggs to turn into Digimon.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there, my immediate reaction on that is, nope, nope, that's bullshit. That is 100% irreconcilable bullshit. Yep, and this is the point where he's slowly considering committing suicide. Okay.
Why is he... Is he basically the fucking Thunder McQueen of Digimon? Have you ever seen JoJo's?
Nope.
Well, basically there's this guy named Thunder McQueen whose whole ability is that when he commits suicide or when anything hurts him, it reflects back on a person of his own unconscious choosing.
Yeah, in this case, Rio is one of the ones. He's generally a negative kid anyway, but he's somewhat of a tsundere. Like people sit there, he's depressive and wrathful towards everything around him because of that. Like he's one of the ones that's pissed off at the world because he considers himself to be useless, therefore it doesn't matter what he does, yada yada yada. That kind of mentality.
He's the fucking depressed kid.
Yeah.
He's the quiet kid. Like if it was maybe a few more days, he would have probably Are you okay with fucked up shit being said?
Yeah, I don't care. But he probably would have paid the visit to the school. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's one of the pansy ones, so he wouldn't have done that. He would have just disappeared. But
he's too much of a bitch.
So he gets dropped into the monster world, and he's sitting there going, okay, well, everything around me is now terribly, terribly wrong. At least before it was human rules and human world, and I could sit there and just coast. Now everything's out to kill me, literally. It's like, yeah, welcome to perspective, son.
You have friends at least.
No, because he hates all of them. And he specifically shoves away anybody that stays around him. And the one girl who was very persistent, Saki, about actually staying with him and basically babysitting and mothering him, she's off somewhere, and he's too much of a bitch to even look. Like, he doesn't want to look. He wants to sit in the building and cower till somebody saves him.
Oh, fuck. At this point, do we really help him?
Like I said, I don't know if I'm gonna bother or not. We'll see. Need food and water.
I am. Literally, it's the fucking depressed kid, so chances are he's gonna fuck us over at some point.
Oh, probably. Okay, so... Alright, whatever. That's probably the right choice anyway. I don't know what Minoru's wanting to go for. Aoi was saying food and water is necessary, which, yes. And, the Rio was sitting there going, I don't want to go anywhere. It's worthless. It's not gonna do anything. Exploration mode. Alright. I'm just gonna say fuck it and get into a couple battles. Because this has been going for the longest fucking time.
When you actually try to get the quiet kid to do something for once.
No. Hell no.
You're like, no, it's pointless.
Hey, Biomon. Definitely gonna nab one of those. I can put 6 units out. Biomon is, vaccine? Vaccine or data?
I'm not sure which is better between Digimon and Pokemon.
Ah, there we go. And, personally, I prefer Digimon. I like Pokemon, but, I do prefer Digimon from the standpoint that Pokemon, basically, the main difference between the two is that Pokemon centers on the trainer and sitting there saying, basically, the adventure is the important part, and all of the Pokemon are functionally speaking interchangeable, right?
Yeah.
Digimon, no. The Digimon that you have is one singular Digimon throughout your entire adventure, technically. Or at least traditionally. You have the one Digimon that's going through without the entire adventure, and it's legitimately your partner. It's the entity that's helping you and growing with you to match the circumstance, just as you are growing to match the circumstance. And whatever form that it takes, it's what you were working towards. So, for example, in season 1 as a good example of that, well, I can go season 1 or season 3. Let's go season 3, because I like Megidramon better. They sit there and go through the entire story, and slowly and surely Guilmone's getting its upgraded forms, right? Rookie, Champion, Ultimate, so on and so forth. When they, at one point, Beelzemon, which is a Mega level Digimon, pops up and proceeds to kill, I believe it was Leomon, who had just been revealed as the partner Digimon for one of the side characters. And he just outright fucking deletes the little bastard. Because Leomon never survives more than a couple of episodes. I don't know what they got against Leomon, but Leomon legitimately always dies fast.
But his partner fucking died too?
No, the partner survived. But the partner was the main character's best friend. Or one of... Yeah, I think she was his best friend. So he's sitting there seeing her in tears crying, and he just saw this this champion level Digimon that was protecting them to some degree sit there and sacrifice himself and die. So he fucking loses it. And Digimon evolve as their partner's emotional state progresses. Like, the more depth and experience you have to fuel your emotions, the stronger your partner gets. That's the basic relationship, right? So when the character gets consumed by rage, unconditional rage, his partner immediately digivolves to a mega level Digimon that is strong as shit, but loses its mind completely. And
Yeah, if I
everybody
remember
has
that was also a thing in Data Squad.
hmm They do it in various. They keep doing it for the different ones at different points. For Savers, which was Data Squad, or no, Savers was 3. So for Data Squad, what they did was it was Shine Gray Mon Ruin mode,
Yeah.
and it's the same premise. It basically they become obscenely powerful but lose their mind, and it's a detriment, and everybody sit there and gotta turn on this thing and try and rein it in, otherwise it'll fuck everything up. Like, it doesn't matter. Friend, foe is irrelevant. The world will go. And
Yeah,
that's,
and Mark just basically lost his fucking shit.
yep. And that's the general thing. That's always been the thing with Digimon, is that each one of the characters in Digimon isn't a singular character. The human and the Digimon are both one character, two halves of one character. So where one goes, the other one follows.
Yeah.
And you get to see that same character be built up from two different angles, let's say. And it actually creates a circumstance where you can get a very well told story out of it. But at the same time, with the concept of doing Digimon games and stuff like that, unlike in Pokemon where you just go ahead and make a team and battle it out and so on and so forth, your partner is yours. Raising your partner becomes a story. And because of that, the Digimon is actually very meaningful to the individual person.
Yeah.
Like, I could have like a War Greymon at the very end and have come from a completely different standpoint in line than any other person that's got a War Greymon. Because there's a lot of War Greymons, but that one's my partner. That's what I
Yeah.
actually really like about Digimon. But unfortunately, they've been sitting there trying to make it into Pokemon, so, nah. I don't think they'll be able to get on the rocks. No, they can't. Good. Oh. Well, I fucked up there.
But for them to be like Pokemon, they will need a character that calls donuts to rice, rice, rice cakes. Let's call it. And let's be honest, everybody likes polygamy or RMs. That's why Pokemon, you always have 6 Pokemons. And
Yeah,
Digimon, people don't just want to stick with one.
yeah, but like I said, there's a difference between them. Like from a pure gaming perspective, Pokemon's probably the better formula. But from a, let's say, RPG or narrative perspective, Digimon wins hands down.
I still prefer Digimon for the same motives that you just build your partner from ground up.
Mm-hmm.
But
There's a lot more
because
variation
Pokemon
to
has,
Digimon.
yeah, like you have few Digimons, but every Digimon is meaningful, in some way.
Yep. And it's meaningful specifically for the reason that it is yours. Pure and simple.
That makes sense.
Sorry, I'm just mushing on some popcorns.
No worries. I'm sitting here wincing because Kunamon's partner is still being a useless twat.
So what happens if the human dies? What happens to their Digimon?
I don't know. I assume that you get to keep it because Kunamon's partner right now is being a useless little bitch, and you could tell because the ones the ones that actually have partners, whenever the Digimon half is acting out, you get an option as one of the menu things that's talk. This option right here, And
Mhm.
basically, this is a special ability that's specific to that partner. So in this case, Minoru can sit there and hype one of the Digimon up to make them move faster. It basically doubles their movement range or something like that. So it's actually really good. But if they don't, Kunamon's partner is being a little bitch and hiding in the school. So his partner isn't actually. I can't use his talk command. Like, I straight up can't. And apparently, I can only talk to the ones that have partners. That's kind of shitty. I'll try.
So
I can't bring
basically, they're
Kunamon over.
fucking berserk.
More or less, I guess. I legitimately don't know what the other restrictions are. But apparently, I can't talk to Kunamon because his partner's not active, and I can't talk to the Betamon because they don't have partners.
Hmm.
Let's see about a Biomon.
I admit I do prefer Pokemon's designs, though. And all of them are most of them are adorable.
At least for the child versions. Because that's the fun part. This ranking rookie for in Japan is known as child. Champion is adult. Ultimate, I believe, is perfect, and then Mega is ultimate.
Hmm. I just admit I love Pokemon's designs, like fucking Meltpan. It's basically a shrieking child. It's a tiny glob of metal that can fit in your hand. It's made of mercury, you see.
Why are leaves
But it's
green?
but it's always screaming, always doing something stupid, always eating something it shouldn't. It's basically a child.
Okay, I'm going to assume Beelmon's a retard. Why are leaves green? To make people calm. Nope. Okay.
Being surrounded by retards is normal for a lot of games, especially JRPGs.
Oh, no, I failed miserably with the Beelmon and buffed it. Fuck! Well, this is gonna go south.
I love how some Pokemon are basically just small children. I'd assume it's a similar thing.
Oh, Falcomon might have just gotten his butt kicked. Yep. KO. Should I? Yes. Have you ever told a lie? Hmm.
I do like how Digimon tends to go balls to the wall as the Digivolutions progress.
Yeah. What's the most important? I'm pissing these things off.
Every day I think about how fucking it becomes a literal fucking tank, and the bunny one gets a minigun arm.
Sweet.
It's just
Okay.
hilarious when you think about it, you know.
Sweet. I recruited a Beomon.
I'd assume you have to assign it to a partner.
No. The wild Digimon don't get partners.
They're basically ads, if you know that term.
Yep. Okay. This is kind of shitty because these guys can't get into range fast enough.
But this Digimon kind of reminds me of Shaman King for PS2. It's exactly the same thing, like visual novel like, and then drops you into RTS battles and stuff.
Types disadvantage. And yeah, I like the battle system for it. At this point in time, the storyline is more than a little overblown, sadly. Okay. Well, I only lost Falcomon. Let's see if I actually permanently lose the Digimon, which would really suck. Nope, I do not. Alright. And I did get a Beelmon, so let's see what the evolutions. Let's see, 9, status. Here we go. Now, evolution. So, Meramon, Diatrimon, and Bergermon. Then the second tier is the Indian one, Blue Meramon, and that's too I can't tell what that is because the shadow's too weird. And I believe the third one is the weird chicken mega. Maybe Ho'omon? I don't know what that one is. But either way. Right. We've got another new Digimon.
So when do you charge your phone? It's already at 95%.
Yeah.
Fucking hilarious sometimes.
I wonder if they like you put the phone with like 100% when you start the game, and as you progress the game and you're almost finishing it, the percentage kind of matches the percentage of story that you already went through.
Technically, they wouldn't be able to charge their phones at all since they're in the fucking digital world. There is electricity, but they don't have any Digimon that are actually capable of charging these. Technically, the Betamon might be able to. Every day is boring. God damn it. Okay. I am completely off from this. That's unfortunate.
Defeat enemies without hitting them in the head or in the chest. Alright. Fuck. Yeah, I guess you want to fuck me over, game, don't you?
Okay, I got one more shot at talking. Let's see.
Save state.
I need more power.
Should I have more confidence? Nope. Try guessing what I think of you. Ay, ay.
Guess what I think of you. Like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything?
It's literally just each Digimon gets a handful of preset questions, And in order to recruit them or anything like that, you have to answer correctly. And essentially, the way it works is you've got 2 wrong answers, 2 right answers. In both cases, they're +1, -1, +2, -2. And you have to get at least 3 points in order to try and recruit them. And if you manage to fuck up badly enough, which I'm doing with these guys, then it buffs the holy crap out of them. So the fight becomes a lot harder. Yep, I failed on both. Oh, that's an AoE. Friendly fire is not on, thankfully.
Braveheart.
That would have gone badly if it was. Let me see.
Who am I going to be fighting this time? The Siren. Oh, fuck. Defeat the Siren before she resurrects a dead enemy. Oh.
If they actually got the real size.
The real
Like
size for what?
as Agumon Digivolved, you could just smash the others just by Digivolving.
This is true.
It doesn't even have to fight at their own size.
So what Digimon can you actually how many forms are there for the different Digimon partners?
It differs rather dramatically.
Hmm.
But essentially the rule seems to be somewhere around the ballpark of 3 or 4. They get 3 champions, something like anywhere from 2 to 4 ultimates, and then somewhere between 2 to 4 megas. Or 2 to 3 megas, something like that.
I'm hoping Rise Greymon is in there for Agumon.
No.
Oh. I
That's-
loved his design though.
That's one of the things that actually annoys me is there's a bunch of Digimon that are really close to they're really close to what already exists and probably should have been done, but they're not. Actually, let me see if I remember right. Metal
Blue Ribbon Challenge
War.
failed. Kill the Siren before
Okay.
she can summon another enemy. Like, my guy, that's literally her primary ability. That is all she does.
There are 2 DNA Digivolutions in this for Agumon. I'm actually curious there. But this is the evolution chart for Agumon, for example.
Well,
And I can identify some of the early ones. Like the one below it is Tuskmon, the one below that is Tyrannomon, which means more than likely Master Tyrannomon's the direct line for that one. Tuskmon, I don't know. And Greymon should be Metal Greymon, then War Greymon. But I had heard something about Skull Greymon being in, and also which might be the Tuskmon upgrade, and this is showing a tier past Mega, which means Omegamon's in, but there's another Digimon listed on tier with Omegamon.
もっと力を
But I do like the fact that you have to actually do energy juggling.
私の番ね
Streaming it on Twitch?
Yep.
Ah. My man,
Sweet, I can reach it.
my man unironically has a fucking titty mouse pad. For shame.
I mean, I do have
For
one.
shame. I literally see it right there. It's like that brings great shame on one's family.
Clobber carrot? The hell is a clobber carrot?
I mean, for me, it was fine. It was my mom that usually would buy my anti-magazines.
Nah, I'm just poking a bit of fun.
Oh, I got another item. Stamina
I was
crystal.
actually saying the truth.
Ugh. Okay, it's
No, but just my family is very open about it. At least my mom was.
I actually don't see a difficulty setting.
Alright, you big bitch. Where you going? Come on.
Okay, data types. So vaccine types are going to be at a disadvantage here. So I want to go virus heavy this time.
Ugh, the fucking sirens. I swear.
Oh yeah, I need some Gatsumon. Don't you think every day is just so boring? Okay. Let's go do something.
Soldiers, firemen, motorized patriots, defeat the wave
1
without
point.
using skylines or hooks.
What kind of food do you like?
Hey, why do you do this to me?
One point from fruit. Nope. Failed. There we go. 4 points. What do you think would be a good rank? Almost full marks. Success rate 25%. Ouch. Let's test out I1 items.
Fireman, Zealot of the Lady. Defeat the wave within 1 minute 15 seconds. This game has no fucking mercy on you, I swear.
Which game?
Bioshock Infinite's Clash of Clouds mode.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for it to cool down so I can get on my computer and either start playing something there or start writing. So what kind of games do you like anyways, Kainos?
I'll play just about anything except Hello Kitty Online.
I have no idea that that was even a thing.
Sadly, yes.
Well, all I can say is that there are worse games, I think.
At least it's not My Little Pony, but I'm pretty sure they've made Betsu's in the interim.
Mm-hmm. I actually know a guy, he's a friend of mine. Favorite things? Conan the Barbarian, John Carter of Mars, and My Little Pony. One of them is not like the other.
Yeah, there seems to be a slight discrepancy here.
Like, have you ever read any Conan or John Carter novels?
John Carter, not the novels, I saw the movie. I've read, I know the books exist and so on and so forth, but that's it.
They're a lot different, apparently.
Yeah, I do love the intro for the fucking movie, though. Where he,
You ever read any...
where he repeatedly tries to escape from getting arrested. That just made me die laughing.
Must be different because in the books he was a Confederate soldier.
He was. In the movie, he was a Confederate soldier as well. He refused to. He basically deserted, or they were trying to get him to go hunt Indians, and he didn't want to. Instead, he was going panhandling and stuff like that. And so they sat there and tried to force him to do so. And it spends the first, 20 minutes of the movie, I think it is, with him sitting there repeatedly making stupid attempts to get out, and he is steadily just getting the shit kicked out of him more and more as he persistently tries to get away.
That definitely is strange, since if I remember, the Confederates worked with the Native Americans during the war. They sided with them, primarily.
Somewhat yes, somewhat no. None of the United States nations had, or you have to remember that the Native American tribes are all individual nation states, so you could ally with one and still be against the rest. So they were fighting some tribes and they were allied with some tribes. And in this case, it was starting off with they were doing a push to the west or something like that, and Carter didn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
So they kept trying to force him, and the first time they found him, he sat there and tried to escape, and got knocked out and then tossed in jail. Then they sit there and he tries to get the key from the jailer and gets his shit kicked. Then they open the door and he tries to bail out and he gets his shit kicked. And then they drag him, he's busted up, they drag him in front of the commander for it. And I think it was he headbutt the commander and then tried to launch himself out the window. 5 seconds later, he's back in the chair with his own fucked up face. And the commander's just holding a rag to his broken nose, and they're going, "All right, you bitch." It's like, yep, that sounds about right, yes.
That is admittingly pretty funny sounding.
Let's see if this is the full one. Oh, no, it's a lot shorter than I remember. And I'm misremembering the order of it. But there you go.
You ever read any Conan novels?
No. One of the YouTubers I watch is very much into the Conan series.
Hmm.
Alright. Let's go veggies all the way. Nope. It's meat. Gotta be meat. What do you think would be a good prank? There we go. Pit trap.
Apparently there's a new Bioshock game being worked on.
I'm not surprised.
I admit I am. The series kind of fucked itself with Burial at Sea.
It kind of fucked itself with Infinite in general. Just from the standpoint of being a Bioshock game.
Yeah.
It's not a bad game, it's just not really Bioshock per se. At least that's the most common thing that I hear.
Yeah, it's just not Bioshock. It's the best way to put it.
But, I don't know, I'm not surprised just because even if it wasn't really a Bioshock game and people had, not necessarily a hatred for it, but they were kind of disappointed because of that, at the same time, it still did fantastically well.
Yeah.
So I can see them sitting there going, well, we're just going to make another one. I ain't going to trust no human.
Point. I'm hoping we get... One game that I'm really disappointed that we never saw was Prey 2.
Yeah, instead they did a reboot.
Yep. Which the reboot's good, but it's more along the lines of System Shock than Prey.
Yeah, I haven't played the original one, so I don't know the difference there.
The OG Prey was more, it was basically fucking Native American magic version of Doom, in which the main character is a Native American with special spirit powers versus a bunch of bio-horror aliens.
Alright, I successfully recruited Gatsumon.
Like, the original Prey loved its body horror.
Fair enough.
And the second game was going to be this more, not necessarily pseudo-real sci-fi like the Prey reboot. It was going to be this more excessively sleek, night, dark, Tron-esque feel, or like Blade Runner, where the main character was an air marshal turned bounty hunter after being kidnapped by aliens and stranded on a world.
Oh, this is interesting. Okay.
It was going to be a semi-open world with it having 4 city districts that each had their own map, feel, enemies, and so on that the player would interact with.
Fun.
The game had a sort of morality system. You could interact with the individual NPCs in very in-depth ways. Like you could talk to even the regular street walking ones. You could mug them. You could go into nightclubs to get to look for jobs, or just for entertainment and mini games and stuff. Like, it was gonna be quite the fucking experience.
Alright, so I've got a Gatsumon now.
One of the more in-depth systems of the game was bounties with different requirements. Some alive, some dead, some either or, with a bonus for one or the other, some wanting the target captured in a specific way, and others would constantly shake it up with targets being able to escape from your captures in different ways. Like, one would be able to, some would be able to teleport out of your bola, like out of your rope launcher. They could just teleport through it.
Yep.
So you need to get close to them and slap a teleporter transponder on them to just directly teleport them into a cell. Others would be able to fly, so you'd have to use your jet boots to get above them and then jump down onto them. Like, it was gonna be a pretty interesting experience, in my opinion. And I'm disappointed we never got it.
No, that's gonna go poorly. Need at least one more correct answer. Jesus Christ, okay. That's more or less how champion's supposed to be, at least. Greymon wanted some KFC.
You could have a Digimon partner. What would it be?
I don't actually know.
Do you really want to ask that?
Yeah, that one I don't actually know. One of my buddies, his biggest, the Digimon he likes the most is Dark Knightmon. And then one of my other friends, his partner would be Dorogoramon. In my case, I don't know. I'm one of those, it's the same thing generally with superpowers and stuff like that. I'm not so much about the end result, it's about the process to get there. So I'd sit there and tend towards you give me anything, I'll figure out how to break it and have fun doing it. In this case, same thing with Digimon. Let's see.
I mean, if anybody could choose a Digimon, I'm pretty sure everybody will be picking Angel Woman.
Hey, no, there's much better ones than that one.
I mean, I did draw one once, but it's very old.
There's Angelmon, there's Lilamon, Lilymon, of course,
Yeah, I
and
heard that.
Lilithmon, Demi Devilmon, um, and there's a female. This one's also another fetish one. There's a female version of Beelzemon.
Yeah, I drew that one.
And then the Sukuyamon and Tsukuzamon, especially Miko mode. Those are very, very popular. Miko mode was the one that had the priestess robes.
Yeah.
I have the sinking feeling that the answers for these questions are globally correct. It's not based on each individual Digimon. Alright, so far off the items, I'm getting literally nothing but bandages.
Here's the features you need to get started. You can always change them later from the account details. Uh, I'm actually part of a D&D group now, and the character I made, I basically completely, what's the term? I made his backstory and characterization completely unplanned.
Impromptu?
Yep, I was completely impromptu with him, and I came out with surprisingly good results.
Nice.
It's a little funny in context because, how familiar are you with the basics of D&D?
Fairly. Depends on the version, of course, but fairly.
Like with, the basic lore and setup of it all, the one that's always there.
There's a bunch of those.
Oh. Well, basically, my character has. You ever seen one of those beams of someone with a fucking remote vibrator in them?
Yeah.
That's basically my character, but he has the fucking brand of sacrifice. Essentially a drow version of the brand of sacrifice that's meant to get him hard. At his mistress's command. He escaped from her, and now it basically causes him pain in the presence of drow. But if it wasn't in her presence, it'd probably cause him pain and cause him to, also get an erection.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's worked surprisingly well as anti-drow radar.
Ouch. Yeah, I really pissed this Beomon off.
Like, you know the scene in Metal Gear Rising of Raiden crumpling to the floor after his pain inhibitors are off?
Yeah. I didn't play Rising, but...
Oh, well, it's basically that, but when he crumples to the floor, you can see that he got a fucking hard on. It's funny in my opinion. I had no intention of doing that, but it just somehow happened,
Yeah.
Mind you, when it happens, he reacts with fear. Because obviously he'd be afraid of Drow. But it forces him,
Yep. No, the last character that I messed with was a Tabaxi called Karsi. and
Mm-hmm.
it was originally supposed to. It basically the backstory was that it was enslaved by elves. It was basically an elven family's pet, and he managed to escape because this Cthulhu entity thing sat there and decided to use him to try and get into the real world.
Basically, he now has a eldritch sugar daddy. Then, right?
Yeah, basically. And absolutely no context for basically anything that happens. So
And
he's.
American lost to Japan.
My my friends' characters are equally a little bit weird. Like one being a paladin who got killed by a chest in our first game, and our other is an assassin slash rogue who can't detect traps for shit. Like this man, as we joke, could walk into a brothel, roll to detect traps, and by the end of the night have had sex with 24 men.
The fuck?
He literally could not detect a fucking a fucking trap chest when it was right in front of him. We literally threw a rock at it just to make sure it wasn't a mimic or something, and he still fucking couldn't detect the trap and it killed our paladin.
Yeah, my friends sat there and got paranoid with the last campaign that I ran because I sat there and had a penchant for. They were walking into an sort of abandoned fortress that was the site of a last stand, and because of that, it was booby trapped. Not a ton of booby traps, but it was booby trapped. And they almost immediately sat there and got paranoid as shit over booby traps.
I mean, I would.
Like, they didn't have a dedicated rogue looking for this stuff, but the one that I had fun with was I sat there and said, they detected the trap, and I was sitting there going, yeah, you see what looks like a small indent along one wall. You have no clue what the context for it is. You just see what recessed portion to it, and it's like, huh. Walk in and immediately get clubbed with an iron bar because it's a dulled sword blade or a saw blade or something like that sits there and swings out of it. I just kind of laughed because I said that it was about chest height, and I'm usually fairly freeform with the stuff, so I was sitting here going, oh yeah, it's just about chest height. Instead of trying to go under it or anything like that, or try to jam it or any such, they literally just had the guy with the shield go in front and try and catch it. In a narrow corridor, catch it and hold it so that everybody else could squeeze by, and I'm sitting there going, well, that's a possibility, yes. I can't guarantee it'll work too well, but yeah, all I'm getting is bandages from these things.
It ain't the way of using only machine guns or the crank gun. All right, let's do this. You know, they say that Bioshock Infinite is like actually having a daughter.
Lots of expectation and disappointment simultaneously.
Yep. She fucks over everybody. She goths it up and sluts it up for burial at sea. Then she becomes essentially a fucking porn star. Because she kind of killed the fucking franchise. At least that's what the meme said.
Yeah.
Sometimes you forget how massive Songbird is.
Alright.
Honestly, had they tweaked things just a little bit when it comes to Bioshock Infinite, it probably could have been great.
I'm going to cut the stream here since I'm just grinding realistically.